Hey you guys, it's me, Ashley. In today's video, I'm just gonna tell you a little story. Hopefully it'll be a little, I don't know, I kind of get off on a tangent when I start talking, but I'm gonna tell it anyway, okay? This story is gonna be about my insane psycho ex-boyfriend, and hopefully you guys don't have to deal with anything like I've had to deal with before, and I think I'm gonna make this a series because you guys, like, this guy was a whack job. Like, I've met some bad people in my life, you know, I've experienced some negative situations, as most of us have, but this person, you know, just wraps it right on up. So, if you guys want to see one of the many stories I have, or I guess hear one of the many stories that I have about this person, then just keep watching. Okay, first of all, let's talk about that lit, highlighted nose and highlighted cheeks. Like, first of all, let me show you what I used for that. I used Glow Getter and Forever Lit, and I mixed the two. And I also highlighted my brow bone. I'm sure, like, I'm glowing today. The only thing I didn't do is put lipstick on, so give me 1 second and I'll put it on and I'll be back. Alright, that's better. And in case you guys didn't see what I was using, it is this, the Melted Matte by Too Faced in the color, I don't know, Lady Balls, because, you know, that's what we have, right? Okay, so sorry if I'm kind of toned down. My entire family's home. It is spring break where I live for the girls, so they are home. And I really don't want to be screaming so that they can hear every word I say. Also, I want to apologize if I start cursing because this person gets my blood boiling and some of these situations get me super heated. Whatever. Okay, so let me start off with letting you guys know this is someone that I dated from the time I was 16 to the time I was like 18-ish, you know. He was like my high school sweetheart, I guess you could say. I don't really like saying that, but I guess he kind of was. So when we first started dating, you know, everything seemed to be like normal. You know, he was super cute. Everybody thought he was cute. I thought he was cute. My mom thought he was cute. He was one of those guys that, you know, goes out of his way to try to impress your parents. He made it a point to be like, no, I want to go meet your mom. You know, I'll come meet your mom, you know, just like that. You know, he was he tried to be super involved with my family. And, well, at first, you know, like, this is in the beginning when we first started dating. I guess I should have gotten some red flags in the beginning because when I first started dating him, all of a sudden, all these people all of a sudden hated me for some reason. I had no idea why. You know, he was a year older than me. He was a senior, I was a junior. And all these people just started, like, all these senior people that I did not know just decided they didn't like me, and I had no idea why. Well, come to find out, he was dating someone else when he started dating me, okay? I was an idiot teenager. Just let's get that out of the way now. So, you know, it seemed like a lot of fun at first. You know, we would go out and drive around, and he would bring me home from school, and we'd hang out during the lunch. You know, it just seemed like any other teenage romance, you know what I mean? Like, it was energetic and it was just fun at first. But then, like, these weird things started happening and you think that I would, you know, get it. You know, hey, maybe he's not so great. But I didn't. Like, I let this person destroy my life for 2 years almost. I would, you know, find, like, little random things that would be, you know, like, I found a bottle of foundation in his car once, and he shared a car. Like, he used his mom's car when we first got together. Like, he would drop her off at work and drive to school and blah, blah, blah. Like, he drove her car all the time. So, he told me that he used this foundation to cover up the razor bumps on his face, you know, like, hindsight is 2020, right? Like, he could have said anything, you know, he could have been like, oh, that's my mom's, you know, but regardless, he told me that it was to cover up his razor bumps, and I believed him. Like an idiot. I believed him. And that's just like one thing, you know. This used to happen a lot. Like, I would find like lip glosses and blah blah blah. I'm going to tell you guys about the time that I found out that he was cheating on me, and this is going to be the first time, okay? Again, I have so many stories, and if you guys want to hear them, I will tell you. Like, I have one where he literally tried to kill me. I have another where I found out he was cheating on me for real from his best friend, and he tried to kill his best friend. He tried to kill my dog. You know, he, like, ended up being a really crazy person, and his whole family, at least from my point of view, encouraged it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know why. I don't understand. I've never, you know, I've seen some things, I've dealt with some things. Never in my life have I met a family that was so sinister as the family that is my ex's and his parents and his sibling, you know? So, again, young, energetic, you know, my parents moved from where we lived. They were moving out of state, and at this point, I was 17. And I was going into my senior year. They moved this summer after my junior year. And, you know, this guy and I were dating still, obviously. And they were moving out of state, you know, and I did not want to leave my senior year. Okay, big mistake. I should have left. I stayed behind. And at first I was, you know, I spent like a week or two with his family after my family moved in, you know. I went with them. It was summer. I spent a lot of the time with my parents, well, with my mom, you know, my sister and brother over the summer, you know, and then I just decided that I did not want to be there. I wanted to stay. When school got closer to coming, I went back to the state that I was living in. And it was only one state away. It was only like a 4-hour drive, but regardless, I stayed a couple of weeks there, and then I made an arrangement with my best friend at the time, and I was staying with her. We were going to a party, okay, and I was so excited. I had used, like, it was the first time I'd ever really gotten, like, I was into makeup, but I used false lashes. I used, you know, I did a lot because we were going to this party, and I was so excited about it. And as soon as he picks me up, you know, and as soon as I get in the car, he's like, did you forget how to do your makeup? Why do your eyelashes look like that? Now, mind you, I was 17 years old, and he used to do stuff like this to me all the time. Like, I was like 110 pounds around this point, and he would, like, ask me if I really needed to eat things, you know, and I'll tell you guys that story another time. That's another one. So he made me feel really insecure about these eyelashes. So I took them off, and you know, when you take off eyelashes, it kind of pulls off your eyeliner and yada yada. So I was super insecure about the fact that my eyeliner was all ruined, and you know, he just made me feel like everything about the way I looked was not okay. We get to this party, and everybody's drinking, and his best friend, you know, had become one of my really good friends, and we were doing like this who can take the most shots thing, you know. Don't do that either. We ended up going to an upwards of like 14 shots apiece of all different things. It was so terrible. It was, you know, your typical high school party, whatever. So I was super drunk, and I don't know if he was or not, you know, but I just remember that his best friend and I were super drunk, you know. We were hanging out, and then of course my boyfriend at the time was around, you know. He was there too. Well, all of a sudden, like, these people that I don't know come through the door, these girls, and I happened to be in one of the back rooms with everyone that, you know, the little group that we were, you know, there were so many people, but the group that I was with, hanging out with, was in a different room, and my ex was, I'm just gonna call him Dummy. Dummy was sitting in a chair in the living room, and I was in the room. Well, you know, people came in, whatever, people were coming and going. I wasn't super, like, concerned with it, but I just so happened to be coming out, and I hear her say, we're going to this party, do you want to come with us? And he didn't know I was standing there, and she didn't know who I was. And he goes, oh, I can't, you know, I wish I could. And I could just tell that there was, like, chemistry there, you know, I could tell that something was going on. And he was like, yeah, I'll come next time. And she's like, well, you should come, you know. And, like, she said, we can have fun again, okay? And I should have, like, processed this, you know. But I was like, you know, who's she? And then she, like, real quick walked out the door. And he's like, oh, she was just kidding. This is my friend, blah, blah, blah. Like, you know, why would she say that? Well, I ended up talking to his friend, his best friend's girlfriend at the time. And she ended up telling me that, you know, that he was cheating on me with this girl. And I don't know what it is. Maybe it's our own opinion. But does it ever seem like when a guy cheats on you, he cheats on you with someone that's, like, way less attractive than you? Or at least that's how it seems, right? That's how I felt. Like, this girl, not saying she's ugly, you know, but in my opinion at that time, I don't know. I hate the way I'm trying to word this. Like, I'm not trying to call anybody ugly by any means, but it just seems like maybe it's just because you just don't like that person. Maybe. I don't know. So she tells me this, you know, she calls the girl confirms it on the phone. Again, we are all really, really drunk. And he and I got into a huge fight, like, huge argument. And he was calling me names, and, you know, I'm just not one to do that. Like, I've seen, you know, my parents used to fight a lot when I was a kid, and it's just not something that I'm not the one. I don't like name calling, you know, it's not something I like to do. So immediately, you know, we all are in the car, and I'm calling my mom, and I'm like, Mom, I need you to come get me. And I told her that he was cheating on me, and blah, 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 blah. And, you know, my mom was, like, ready to come drive 4 hours to come get me. And I hung up the phone with her, and he's sitting here talking to me, and of course, I let him talk me into staying there, and let him, you know, make me think that it was a lie, and that he told me that she just wanted to be with him, so they were trying to break us up, and blah, 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 blah. And after that, like, we didn't hang out with his best friend unless that girl, his best friend's girlfriend, wasn't around, because I believed my boyfriend that this girl was just trying to break us up because her best friend wanted to be with him. And that is so stupid. Like, I wish that no, I don't, because God bless the broken road that led me straight to where I am now, and I have the most perfect man in the whole world to me, you know, and of course he's not perfect, of course, no one is perfect, but he loves me, and I love him, and there's nothing in this world that I would do to change what I have now. But it just sucks to have to go through something like that at 16, 17 years old, you know what I mean? So that's the end of the beginning of this story. I don't want to be super down about it, you know. Again, I'm thankful that it's not thankful that it happened, but thankful that I learned from it, I guess you could say. But again, I didn't learn from it right then. I learned from it as of right now. I know better now. But then I had to deal with a whole lot more to get to where I am today. So, if you guys want to hear some more of my story about my psycho crazy ex and his abusive ways, just let me know. I'm going to tell you guys regardless, but give me a thumbs up anyway. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on any more of these stories. If you want a tutorial on this look, because I'm loving it today. So I have an appointment coming up in like 40 minutes, so I need to go ahead and finish getting ready for that. And don't forget to follow me on all my social media, which will be Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter. Is at ashlarayyy, just like it is spelled right here on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye.